Back to the Future fans, and I've done investigations, are the best fans. They're the most intelligent, the most wise, the most fun. They have the best stories. They're the kindest, smartest, most loyal fans of any fandom worldwide in any time continuum.
Back to the Future is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, and it is one of my all-time favorite movies. I was lucky enough to be invited to a special celebration at the Valley Relics Museum in Los Angeles, California, hosted by Doc's Time Machines. The event featured cast and crew appearances, screen-use props, live music, costumed fans, and of course, DeLorean time machines. We even got a live performance by Marvin Berry himself, playing the classic hits from the film. I'm Ryan Coltrera from JoBlo.com. Come along with me as I chat to some of the folks who helped make Back to the Future one of the most beloved films of all time. So for starters, let's take it back to the beginning. I was wondering if you could take us through your audition process and how you came to be cast as Marvin Berry.
Very simple story. I was in LA. I was doing a musical called The Me Nobody Knows. I got this call out of the blue to come and sing at Amblin Entertainment in the middle of, Universal. And I came and did my 36 bars. I think the song was Feeling Good, because it's one of my favorite songs. This was December of 1984. I'll just say the year. And I forgot about it. And then I get a call back that I need to come in and meet with the director of this movie. And it was like, okay, what do I need to prepare? Nothing. So I get in there, and Bob Zemeckis and I sat and talked about theater for 20 minutes. I didn't even have a script. It was just a conversation. And I thought, this is a great thing. I got to talk to Bob Zemeckis, and then I went home. The next week, I got a call from my agent saying I had two options. I had been selected as one of the finalists for this TV series called, by the way, He's the Mayor. And then they were also offering me this role on Back to the Future. My agent wanted me to take the TV series, and I went, it's a Spielberg movie. Why would I say no? And so that brought it, and in literally January of 1985, because they had to reshoot everything because they had brought in Michael J. Fox. Mm-hmm. So when they got to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, it was the first new thing that they shot. But I also didn't know that everybody was so excited because it was the first fresh thing that they were starting with. So my coming in for singing 36 bars, I never saw the full script. They were telling me I was going to sing Earth Angel. I thought that it was going to be like someone from the Four Tops or the Temptations who was going to sing it for real. And Alan Silvestri asked me, you want to sing the song? And I went, sure.
Yeah.
We went in February 14th. I remember because it was my little brother's birthday. And I did 14 takes and then left. So then we finally saw the opening of the movie in July 3rd. I didn't know that it was going to be so important in the story of the movie.
It's huge.
So yeah, it's kind of huge. And then I will tell you one more quick thing that you can use.
Please.
After the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, when they're playing the Johnny Be Good, and I'm making the phone call for Chuck. Everyone's gone. It's just me. It's the crew. The Zemeckis were back in the corner there in the church. They say, action, Chuck, it's Marvin, your cousin Marvin Berry. You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this. Cut, take, print, out. One take.
No kidding.
So I'm really sort of happy that moment was just a special moment that still lives in Back to the Future history. So I'm really grateful.
Do you remember the first moment that you realized, wow, I really did something iconic in film and I was part of something huge?
When we saw the opening and I heard people cheering for the song,
yeah.
Not to mention the movie itself, I knew that it was magic, but I didn't know that it would be magic this long. Who knew? How can you ever tell when something's going to be like that, except that it felt so good?
Absolutely.
It was so nice to have something that was so joyful as a part of the thing that I get to share with the world.
And
All right.
you, of course, are part of one of the most iconic music scenes in film history, no stretch. So if you yourself were able to time travel to witness one musical performance by an artist in history, who would you see?
In history?
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of old-fashioned because when I was growing up, we weren't allowed to buy records. So I listened to what my parents played. And I have to say that Nat King Cole has one of the most perfect voices that you have ever heard. And my father has a voice like Nat King Cole. So that's why I say I'm not really a singer, I'm just a pale imitation.
And lastly, since there's going to be a lot of fans watching this video, do you have a message to them on the 40th anniversary of this beloved film?
The 40th anniversary, first of all, thank you, bless you all for being such a part of this journey. None of this happens without you. We're just actors that happen to be in an amazing, I want to say, film experience that still lives on and on. So I always tell people, show your grandkids. They'll still enjoy the movie.
If you were able to time travel to any event in history to witness, where would you go?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I would go to when Jesus Christ was alive. He's my savior, and I would love to meet him.
And so looking back at 40 years of this movie, I'm sure you've had many, many fan interactions in your time, but are there any particular moments where you're talking to a fan of this movie that has really stuck in your memory as something special?
First of all, there's too many to name because they're all so truly special. I would say when I was in Australia, there was a boy in a wheelchair, and they called me over to him, and he had written a letter. He had a bone disease, so his bones were soft. So the fact that he was able to hold a pencil and write was extraordinary in his condition. And then he said, "Can I give you a hug?" And I said, "Of course." And he stood up and walked up to me and he hugged me, which he literally had brittle bones that break just with, you blow a feather and it'll break a bone.
Oh my God.
So he sat there and spent 2 weeks writing me a letter that was like 2.5 pages long, read it to me, stood up and walked toward me and gave me a hug.
Wow, that's really powerful. And you know, that truly speaks to the power of entertainment to just touch lives and really go deeper than you would think any movie possibly could.
It's mind-boggling.
Really is. And kind of off that thought, we're here celebrating 40 years of this movie that is beloved by so many people. What do you think has given this its staying power in our pop culture consciousness?
First of all, I think God kissed the movie. There's certain movies like The Sound of Music, It's a Wonderful Life, that are just like entrenched for me in movie history, and everyone seems to together feel that Back to the Future is a perfect movie. So perfectly written, perfectly acted, perfectly cast. I hear that over and over again. I think maybe it's because there's love, there's pressure and terror that things could change. Everything's an emergency, and it all turns out extraordinarily.
And so let's go back to the beginning of this film for you. What was your audition process like, and how did you first get cast as Jennifer?
I had screen tested for Gremlins, Goonies, Young Sherlock Holmes, a bunch of different things. So I only had one audition for Steven Spielberg and everyone else. And the guy playing Marty in the audition was on his 11th callback. So I was cast as Jennifer Parker from one audition, and then they cast Eric Stoltz. And then a pilot I had done for ABC called Off the Rack got picked up for a mid-season replacement at the same time I was supposed to shoot Back to the Future. And ABC wouldn't share me with Amblin. So I had to back out from my part.
Right.
I did the 6 or 7 episodes with Ed Asner and Eileen Brennan in front of a live audience. They recast Marty with Michael J. Fox.
Yes.
The girl they recast in my part is tall, and I'm not, and I was then available, so I got my part back, and I became Jennifer Parker for the second time.
Extremely cool.
Yeah, I was totally meant to be. Talk about density.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The right role was waiting for you that whole time.
Yeah, and if they had sold it 10 years prior, when they were trying to sell to Disney, I would have been 8 years old, so I couldn't have been my part.
Fair enough, yeah. Everything works out.
It always does.
Absolutely.
What has come from it is what I'm just amazingly grateful for, because the experiences and the people I get to meet and the joy that people feel. I mean, everyone loves, it's a feel-good movie and they love dressing in character.
Oh, yeah.
I get to travel all over the world and do appearances. And my store, Armani Wells, is open by appointment only. So that doesn't stop me from being able to take jobs. It's really great.
When do you recall the moment, or I guess moments plural, where you realized that this film was a classic?
When I started doing appearances and I saw the fan love and online, the fan love all over the world is so beautiful and strong.
Absolutely.
I was just in Mexico City and there was 718 cosplayers in one spot, and they're chanting, "We love Claudia, we love Claudia." It was just like, I cried. I mean, it's just such it's overwhelmingly incredible. And I'm just grateful is the word that always comes to my mind.
Absolutely. And have you ever thought about where you think your character would be 40 years on down the road, where we are right now?
I haven't. Life is so strange. I couldn't even predict. I mean, I didn't know that 40 years later, I'd have a store that's 35 years old in December where I dress men every day.
Awesome.
By appointment, so it's not really every day. But I've lived so many lives since I did Back to the Future. We all live so many lives in each life that we live that I think predicting it would just be, what do they say? When you make plans, God laughs?
Right.
Because he already knows what's going to happen. So I just enjoy the ride.
Fair enough. And lastly, there's going to be many, many fans watching this video. Do you have a message to the Back to the Future fans on this 40th anniversary?
Yes. Okay. So I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you. Back to the Future fans, and I've done investigations, are the best fans. They're the most intelligent, the most wise, the most fun. They have the best stories. They're the kindest, smartest, most loyal fans of any fandom worldwide in any time continuum. I am the only one who posts my posts. I read everything people write. If you're mean, you get blocked and reported, but that's very, very rare because 99.999% are just extraordinary. And I thank you for your love. I thank you for being in part of my Back to the Future family. I look forward to our future together. And I love all of your stories that you tell me about how Back to the Future has affected your life. And God bless you mightily.
So for starters, I kind of wanted to go back to the beginning and ask how you first came to be cast in this movie. What was your audition process like?
My audition process was I had a meeting with Bob Gale, Bob Zemeckis, Neil Canton, and Steven Spielberg. And it was just they wanted to talk to me. They talked to me. I didn't audition. I got a phone call that said, "You're Goldie Wilson." It's as simple as that. They asked me if I could sing. I did not know why.
Gotcha.
But Marvin and I have this going little feud, little fun feud. It's like they asked me if I could sing. If I had said yes, you wouldn't have been in the movie.
Okay, I got you, man. So we're here looking at 40th anniversary of this movie that everybody loves. When did you first realize that it had achieved this kind of cult classic status?
In 2010, I went on to Google and I saw that there was a Back to the Future reunion. It was either 2009 or 2010, and I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't Back to the Future. How come I wasn't there? Then I began to research and I realized that Back to the Future was this giant cult phenomenon. And I reached out to backtothefuture.com to Stephen Clark. Stephen Clark explained to me what was going on, and the rest is history.
And your character kind of represents one of the pillars of optimism in the film, kind of the heart that a lot of people connect
like
to.
Like your interview, you say the pillars of optimism.
Yeah.
That's some really dynamic audio stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So here's the deal. It was 1955. Michael J. Fox went back in time with all of his 1985 sensibilities and knowing about his town's history. And he said, "You're going to become mayor." And I was like, well, maybe it's not some book. But then you think about Carl Stokes, who became mayor in 1968. I think America's first black mayor.
Right.
So that would have been in the same time frame of when Goldie was given that idea, which is one of the things that makes Back to the Future so special, because things that were planted in the psyche of the world that hadn't been yet
right
became.
Absolutely. And I wanted to touch on your career as a voice actor as well. When did you first kind of find your passion for voice acting that you've been exploring in an extremely prolific career over all these years?
1971.
Yep.
My first job was as the voice of Michael Jackson on the Jackson 5 cartoon show.
Yes.
And for your listeners, yes, I am the absolute very first Michael Jackson impersonator that got a check.
Hell yeah.
And it was at that point that I realized I had a certain forte for voiceover.
Following the events of the film, where do you see your character's life going?
So, the only sequel is the musical. And the musical has set boundaries a little further beyond the film, obviously because it's a musical and there are song and dance numbers. And my particular character, Goldie, has an expounded role that wasn't realized in the film because of financial constraints.
Gotcha.
We did the film with Eric Stoltz first, and there were a number of scenes that Goldie was supposed to have been in, but when they decided that they weren't going to do it with Eric and they had to do it with Michael,
Right.
obviously budgetary cuts came in.
Right.
And guess who suffered those?
Jeez, man.
Show business, baby.
If you could send any message to the people who have loved this movie for 40 years, what would you say to them?
Continue.
Fair enough.
We love you for loving it. We'd never expected it. We totally appreciate it. We appreciate all of you who love it to make our work relevant throughout history, and we thank you.
Do you have any favorite memories from your time filming? Anything that sticks out?
Well, what sticks out is I actually had to film my scene twice because I originally filmed it with Eric Stoltz, and then almost like a month later, my mom, may she rest in peace, says to me, "Oh, we have to go back and shoot your scene in Back to the Future." And at first I was kind of confused. I said, "Did they change the dialogue or like what happened?" She said, "Oh no, they recast the movie." And I said, "Well, who they recast?" They said, "Oh, well, they brought in Michael J. Fox."
Gotcha.
And huge fan. Yeah, I got to film my scene twice, and it was very different, between the first experience and the second experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you worn that hat since?
The hat has, the raccoon skin hat has since been retired. However, there is a picture that exists of my son Sam and I wearing and we really look alike, and we're both wearing this raccoon skin cap, and we were at some store that sold knickknacks in the middle of nowhere on some trip, and we both kind of looked at each other and put it on, and I have a picture of that somewhere. It was really kind of funny. So no, that's the only time that I put back on the hat.
Okay.
Yes. It was very itchy.
Yeah, I assume you're not rocking. It's very hot in the valley. I assume you're not walking around with it.
No, yeah, the raccoon skin doesn't breathe very well. No.
You've had quite an iconic career with so many memorable performances and so many cult classics. What would you say is the one that you are most recognized for between Back to the Future, Pee-wee, Wonder Years?
Well, I mean, a lot of people recognize me from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Back to the Future, Monster Squad.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's, right up there. And then, yeah, of course, Wonder Years, I would have to say over time is, the most. But, I mean, those other movies we just mentioned are if that's A, that's A minus. It's right under there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first impression the first time you got to see the completed film?
Oh, I loved it, and then once I saw, the whole film in its totality, I understood why they recast. Eric Stoltz is an amazing, accomplished, veteran, incredible actor and director.
Sure.
But, it was a different performance, He was a bit, more kind of on the dramatic and serious side. And, Michael J. Fox comes out of the sitcom world, and he's, bouncing around and super energetic and light and fun and funny. And, it was a great movie. And, I understood the decision after I saw the whole thing.
And were there any moments from working with Robert Zemeckis on this film that shaped your future career as an actor? Any notes or takeaways or things you learned that kind of affected your career?
I'll tell you the thing that I learned in general is, don't get too comfortable. Don't get too comfortable. Because there's always somebody else that could do your job. And maybe, probably, even, I'm not going to say better than, well, let's just say different than, you. So, always bring your A game to set, every single day and give it all you got.
With this being a time travel movie, I've been asking everybody, if you could travel to witness any event in history, where would you go?
Oh, come on. That's a tough one.
It's only all of history.
Yeah, it's only all of history.
Yeah, I know.
All of history.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure. Maybe I would have liked to have been at the signing of the Declaration of Independence.
All right, there we go. Do you have a message to the fans on the 40th anniversary of this beloved film?
I would have to say, what's a rerun?
From JoBlo.com, I have been Ryan Coltrera. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I'll see you in the future or the past.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo remains an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.